Wi-Fi Center from Vestamatic. Control your solar shading devices from your smartphone or from your PC. Here is an example of a standard installation. There are two awnings installed, one combined sun and wind sensor, and also a light. In this case, it could be, for example, the garden light. If you want to control more awnings, you need to use a motor relay. In this example, there are two motor relays used, one per zone, and on each motor relay you can have up to 3 motors. There is also a possibility to connect a wired switch for local control up and down. If you want to control even more motors or want to have great flexibility, you should really use the Smart Motor Relay MCP4 VRS. By using that motor relay, you can in practice control up to hundreds of motors. You can also create subgroups for local control. The smart thing is that these subgroups are very flexible and not least, they are over radio, so no wires are needed. In the normal case, the solar shading device is of course controlled automatically by the sun and wind sensor. But you can also control it manually either from your iPhone or iPad, or you can control it from a browser, for example on your Android telephone, smart TV or PC or Mac or Linux, or from the remote control that comes with the device. Wi-Fi Center comes with a CD-ROM containing a multi-language user manual, the Wi-Fi Center box itself, a radio card, the combined sun and wind sensor, a 5-channel remote control, and a number of screws and plugs. All you need. The electrical installation itself should of course be made by a professional electrician. Make sure that the location where you want to install Wi-Fi Center is in range of your Wi-Fi network. How this is done you can easily see in the user manual. Note also that internet connection is not needed to get Wi-Fi Center to work. Install the radio card before you turn on the power to Wi-Fi Center. Mount the combined sun and wind sensor close to the awnings in an adequate position. Now it's time to pair the remote control on Wi-Fi Center. This is easily done. Simply turn off the power and wait 10 seconds. Then turn the power back on again, and you have now 30 seconds to pair the remote control and Wi-Fi Center. To pair, simply press the prog button on the back of the remote and then press the stop button. As a confirmation, you will either hear 2 clicks, or if you have light installed to Wi-Fi Center, it will blink 2 times. Now it's time to check the motor direction. Please press the down push button on the remote control. The down button is the button furthest away from the LEDs. If the motor is going in the opposite direction, you must change physically the black and brown motor cable in the Wi-Fi Center. Using the remote control is very easy, but first it's very good to know that automatically channel 1 and channel 2 is dedicated to motor 1 and motor 2 on the Wi-Fi Center, while channel 3 is automatically dedicated to light. Channel 4 and 5 will be used for other functions in the future. To change the channel, simply press and hold the stop button for a second or 2. When the LEDs start to blink, use the up and down buttons to select the channel you want and confirm by pressing stop. Now it's time to connect the Wi-Fi Center to your local private Wi-Fi network. You need to know 3 things before you start. The first thing is the name of your network. Secondly, what is the password to your network? And the third thing is, what is the encryption used? The most common encryption is WPA2. To install the app, simply go to App Store. Then press Search. Search for Vestamatic Wi-Fi Center. And then you simply press Install. The first thing we should do is to connect to the ad hoc network of the Wi-Fi Center. Simply go to Settings on your iPhone and then click Wi-Fi. Then select the network VSAB. We are now about to do the network installation, so please start the Vestamatic Wi-Fi Center app. Now please click Settings and then select System. In a few seconds, Wi-Fi Center will pop up in the name of VSAB. please click VSAB. Then press Settings again and press Network. So, now we are about to move Wi-Fi Center into your local network. This is done by simply enter the SSID, meaning the name of your private network, your password and the encryption you're using. Then click Done. So, now we have moved the Wi-Fi Center into your private Wi-Fi network. What we have to do now is also to put your iPhone back to your private network. This is done by simply clicking the Settings app, select Wi-Fi, and then select your private network. In our case, it's called Wi-Fi Demo. You can, if you want, also configure the network from either a Mac or a PC. Simply go to the website and download the software. When you have installed the software, please make sure that you connect your computer to the network VSAB. This step is required if you plan to use an Android device as the remote control. Click on the button Set up Network. Simply follow the steps in the software. Do not forget that you must be connected to the VSAB, meaning the Wi-Fi Center ad hoc network, while doing this. After a few seconds, the Wi-Fi Center will pop up. Select it and enter the needed network settings. Do not forget in the end to put your computer back again to your private network. If you plan to control Wi-Fi Center from your Android smartphone, a smart TV, a PC or Mac or something using a browser, you need to continue with step 2. Simply follow the steps in the software. What we are doing here is to set a fixed IP address to the Wi-Fi Center. Please note that IP number. That IP number you can surf to from any device that has connection to your Wi-Fi network and has a browser. It could be your smart TV, a PC, your Android phone, any device that has a browser. To have access in the future quickly, create a bookmark. This is an example how the LEDs within Wi-Fi Center looks after a successful installation. If a green LED is blinking, it means it's not connected to the network, and that is normally not a good sign. If the green LED is blinking, it could be a good idea to make a factory reset and redo the network configuration. To make a factory reset, do as following. Turn off the power to Wi-Fi Center and wait about 10 seconds. Then move the jumper to the second position. Turn the power back on and wait for about 10 seconds. Then turn off the power again. Move back the jumper to the first position and turn the power back on again. You have now resetted the Wi-Fi Center. If you are still facing problems, please take a look at the FAQ site on wificenter.com. There is also a help site in the iPhone app and also in the computer software. It would always be a good idea to make sure that you are using the latest firmware version to Wi-Fi Center. This is done by simply clicking the help button within the app. The latest firmware you can find at wificenter.com. You can also use the computer software to find the same information. There are a few parameters that you might need to adjust to get the most out of your Wi-Fi Center. Here we'll follow a few examples. To start with, please click Settings and then select System. In this example you can see that there are in fact 2 Wi-Fi centers installed. This is no problem. You can have quite a few Wi-Fi centers in the same building, but you have to select the one you want to control for the moment. In this case, we want to change the name of the Wi-Fi center called VSAB. This is how it's done. There are quite a few parameters that you can adjust. Please take a look in the user manual for more information. The sun and wind functions normally have to be tweaked a bit so it fits the particular solar shading devices that are used in your installation. Please take a look in the user manual how this is done. If more than one Wi-Fi center are installed in your building, it can be smart to give them a proper name so you know which one that you are controlling for the moment. Here I can see that both zones are in automatic mode. It's very easy to run the motors manually up or down, or stop it where I want to put the motors in manual mode, or turn on and off the light. If you have more than one iPhone or iPad, simply install the app on the second device, start the app, and select the Wi-Fi center you want to control. It's that simple. If you're using a web browser to control, for example on an Android smartphone, simply surf to the IP number. That's it. To update the firmware of Wi-Fi center, simply click the button Update Firmware and follow the steps. We recommend that you always use the latest firmware. Here follows the most common problems. By far the most common problem is that you either entered the name of your network or the password to your network incorrectly. Another thing is to check that you are really connected to your Wi-Fi network. If you look inside the Wi-Fi center, if there is a green LED flashing, it means that you are not connected to the network. Please make a factory reset and restart the configuration of the network. It could also be that you have selected the wrong encryption of your network. If you're not sure the encryption you are using, please select VPA2. For more information, please go to wificenter.com.